What is your one message if someone wants to go global?
Okay, first let me congratulate the Marathi team for putting up this phenomenal show. I've been part of a previous event when Garze Marathi was a book, and the first book happened, and then the second book happened, and the second book I was part of that book as well. So I'm very delighted to see what the progress that has been made by Mr. Ganu and all the people that he has done. He has followed a very interesting strategy. He wrote about a whole bunch of people and then convinced them to do work for him. So that was a very smart thing that he did. So he was able to get a large team of people who were very enthusiastic and motivated, and they have been helping the community in a big way. So he's really a dynamic leader in this context, and one should learn from him as to how to find the customers and go after them. And that's my single message to all of you, like, go where the customer is. Now the thing is, should you do global or India, that depends on what kind of product or technology or solution that you are trying to build. And if the product has demand outside India and you are able to supply, then absolutely you should do it. The other thing that I want to also mention is that, you know, each business has a certain rhythm with it. So trying to change that rhythm is not terribly easy. So if you are a small business, you have limited funds, then trying to say that I'm going to set up an office in North America is not exactly practical. You can wait for some time, make sure you have the cash. But when you do something, you have to do it with precision and you know, you can't just take chances. Small businesses cannot just keep failing all the time. So you have to be very clear about what you're trying to do. And absolutely there is good market outside India. You will get better value for your products. But you need to deliver good quality products that can be sold, and you need a team that can make it happen. So maybe if you're the first one and first business, small one, you know, maybe at that point, maybe export may not be the right thing for you. But over a period of time, as you build your own muscles, then you can definitely go and make the jump that is necessary.
Great, sir. So you mentioned about product, right? Choose a right product and have a good quality product. And I've heard a lot of your podcast and your interview and what we have spoken before. You always talk about niche, right? You always talk about finding your niche, finding your focus. So does that niche concept applies to small, medium entrepreneurs also? Any example how you can explain?
Yes, see, the reason I say that you should find a niche or have a clarity of why your product is what it is for two main reasons. One is when the customer wants to buy a product, the customer has lots of choices. But when you go to a store and you see Chitra, you definitely pick that product up. So a lot of times if you know about the product, you know why you are buying that product, then it is often very useful and people will buy that product because they feel that there is some trust that they have about that product. Now it is very difficult to create trust unless you have a clear, unique value that you are trying to provide. Otherwise, it's very hard to create your own, brand of yours in some sense. So, for a small business, the way I have described this is as follows. And again, let me sort of qualify what I'm saying. And let me sort of explain the context as well first. So, what I find is that the kinds of strategies that you use in every level or every size of the company are different. So what works for very small businesses that we deal with, such as the ones we deal with, the Asra Foundation and Nano Entrepreneurs, is different from what may be appropriate for a 10 crore business, would be different from a 100 crore business and all that. So when I'm talking to a large group like this, I'm always worried that you say some strategy, but that strategy may not be right for all sizes of businesses. So you have to take that with the right kind of guardrails in some sense. But that said, in any product or any business that you are doing, unless you have a clear right to win, why would anybody buy your product, right? So you have to have some reason why you are so unique, you are so different, or in the geography you are the only one present. And there are many ways to create that differentiation. But unless you have some differentiation, it is very hard to be successful in any market. And that is really what we say. So niche can be, if you're a very large company, then a niche is very different. When I'm a 1 crore company, my niche is very different. If I'm a massage parlor in the corner, my niche is very different. But still defining what your uniqueness is and building expertise and high quality for that particular product, so that everyone feels like using that product, remembers it, and comes back for it. That's really what you want to achieve.
No, great. So you always give that example of travel agency
Not always.
you mentor.
There are many examples.
Okay, yeah,
One of the examples.
So you give many examples, but yeah. So on the niche, right? And another topic which is very relevant and for the small and medium entrepreneurs or startups is that how to choose the market, right? Is it because, like you said, you have to play to win,
Yeah.
right? You cannot afford to lose because you have less resources and all. So market plays a very important role. What is your view on that, sir?
So market, again, people use this term market in many different ways. But again, as I said, it depends on the size of your business. So if you are running a massage parlor, you cannot say your market is global, right? Because who's going to come? The person who is in your neighborhood who's going to come. So it is driven by a collection of customers. So find the customers that you can find that are relevant for your business, and more such customers make the market. So that's pretty much how I like to see it. But again, I see such a variety of companies here in the audience that I don't want to generalize these statements as saying the market in North America. That may not be appropriate for every business. So you have to see where you can make. So let me go one step back and tell you. See, if you are just starting out, your goal should be to go find customers. How many? Start with 1, 2, 5, 10, make that 10, 100, 100 to 1000. So it depends on what you are trying to do, but you start incrementally, keep growing, and you have to remember that if you are providing a service, then the customer should keep coming back to you. Why would he come back to you? Because you have good quality stuff. Why would somebody buy something from you for the first place? Because you have something that is unique, differentiated, that makes it attractive for someone to buy your product. So instead of thinking from my product, how do I sell? Think from the buyer's context. If I'm a buyer or looking for something in the market, I'm likely to buy some of your products because they are quote unquote attractive for what I'm looking for. At the right price, at the right kind of packaging, meets my requirements, whatever else. So the better you understand the customer's buying behavior, the better off you are about building your product. Now, if you can generalize your buyer behavior to an extent that multiple of these can be put together, that is your market. Now, the market is a function of where you are right now. So if I'm running a small business, then my market is, you want to pick a market that is small because you have a better chance of winning. Don't try to go after a market that is not connected to your current aspiration, let me say that.
Perfect. One last question on startup, and then I'll have two generic questions. That when you are small, you can say when you are small and or less than a medium startup, how does the team matter?
See, again, if I'm running a solo business, then I'm a solo entrepreneur. But if I start to become any bigger, then of course you need other people to work with you. And there are many different ways of how you can create teams today. They may not all be your employees, they can be partners. We are looking at a gig world right now. So many of you could bring in gig workers for your particular gig that you want to do. So I think this thing is kind of changing in many ways. But what is very important is to understand that if you want to get things done, if you are the only one trying to get things done, then you are limited by your ability as to how far you can go. But if you have few other people who are with you, then together you can go further. And that's the reason why you need to think about how do I bring more people together? How do I build a team? And if I have a team, then my ability to grow and the robustness that I can create in my solution and products is so much better. Different people can choose different parts of the business to focus on. And if you are a solo business, then you are dependent on your abilities. And all of us know that there are only so many things that we are good at. And if you bring a team together, the combination of the team, the union of all skills, is typically better than my individual skill. So that is where building a team is very useful. Now it's not easy to build a team, but it requires some give and take. But I think people should think about why should I be in somebody's team, and if I can create an environment that I would want to be part of, then perhaps somebody else might also be want to part of, right? So you have to think about putting somebody else, putting yourselves in their shoes and see why they should be in your team.
Perfect. Now, one very generic question that today we are listening a lot about to make Maharashtra $1 trillion economy. A lot of initiatives are going on from government and everyone. What is your view that the small, nano or medium entrepreneurs, do you think they will really contribute? And another similar question related to that, such conference, Global Entrepreneur, such conference, are they required for us to take towards that?
So, I've been very vocal about this thing. I really believe that no government can create jobs for everyone. So, if you are waiting for government jobs, even the trillion economy, I'm sorry, nobody is going to give you any jobs. Forget about government. Government should focus on the big things. Real jobs are going to happen when individuals make jobs happen for themselves. And what I've been also articulating let me sort of share this. I think that in general, jobs are going to be will always be short by definition. There are more people than the jobs that may be available. But there is no shortage of work. So it's for you to figure out how to convert work to jobs. It's simply as simple as that. And that's why entrepreneurs matter. And that's why nano entrepreneurs matter the most. More and more, I think we are heading into a world where we'll see gig economy being the prevalent way of where people are going to do jobs. In that case, you will have many jobs at the same time that you will do. And different jobs will give you different kinds of income. And you will keep learning new things because new things will keep coming. And as you go along, you will find new ways to do things. But if you are flexible, you are able to convert work to jobs and work to money, then you will never be unsuccessful. So I think it's time people sort of felt that, don't wait for government to give you jobs. Those jobs, one, will be not there, and even if you get them, they'll be so lousy you wouldn't want them. So I'm not a big government job person. But so why are these conferences useful? Sometimes you don't believe in this. So it's good to meet each other, and when you see someone else who has succeeded, it gives you the inspiration that if this guy can do it, I can also do it. Right? I'll give you one story in this one. This kind of not good one, but so I did a PhD, and one of my most inspiring reasons for doing a PhD was there were a couple of profs in my college who were so horrible but had PhD. I said, "Arey sala, ye bhi kar sakta hai, to main bhi kar sakta." So partly you will see the same thing here.
There are some students here.
Hey, whatever. No, point is simple, right? Entrepreneurship में तुम देखोगे, अरे Anand can do this, why can't I do this? ये तो सारा नमूना है, मैं तो उससे कितना better हूँ, right? So this is exactly why people get inspired, right? This greed, envy, fear, one of those things. But when I see someone, यार ये कर सकता है तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. So that envy, right? That desire, that role model is a good way of saying it. But the biggest thing is that everyone feels कि यार मेरे पड़ोसी का बच्चा कर लेता है तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ. So this is why these things are very useful. You can see those पड़ोसी का बच्चा are doing really well, and then everyone wants to do it.
And that's how the community will win.
Yes, absolutely.
So
and I think if you look at this, and I live in Pune as well, right? So the one thing that I would like to see change is that everyone's, when you meet uncle aunties, they're so proud of their kids being in the US. This needs to change, guys. There's nothing to do outside India. Action is here in India. I would like to see the parents talk about how their kids are making a difference here. Now 1 trillion Maharashtra is going to create lots of opportunities, not jobs, opportunities. And I think it's time that you all looked around and sort of grabbed the opportunities that are there. And I say this, with great humility that I think if someone is 20 or 25 right now, I think it's very exciting as compared to when Ganesh and I were 20 or 25. So world has changed now to to be very exciting for many of you. We were living in a very strange India at that point, but now India is very different. It's happening, and I see no reason why you should hesitate in terms of the opportunities that you have all around you, and just go grab it. Is how I would see it.
Perfect. One last question before we end. What is that one skill a small, medium or a startup founder should have as per you?
They should be able to sell. So the salesman never goes hungry. The guy who sells well, he'll always bring business to him. Everyone wants the guy who can sell well.
Wow.
If you bring customers, everything else you'll find.
Wow. That's great.
Let me say one thing. It's not easy to do this. Okay. But it can be learned. So it's not easy to be a good salesman. And Marathi people think that it is intellectually not a good thing to be a salesman.
Very true.
And I blame the reason.
Is MR.
That's the analogy that people make. But I believe that the reason we talk about all this Marathi business is because Marathi people have a hang-up about being a salesman. Everyone should be selling. Actually, everyone is selling all the time anyway. You might as well learn how to sell better.
Yeah.
Right? You're selling to your kids, you're selling to your parents, you're selling everywhere. All this stuff is going on. So, but if you figure out how to sell your stuff well, right? Then you will be a superstar. You will do very well. Anybody who can sell will succeed.
Wow. Thank you so much. So just take one takeaway from what you said is, अगर बाजू वाला बच्चा कर सकता है तो हम भी कर सकते हैं. So remember that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Our love towards him.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Applause. Yep.